Wolf Among Us review. The Wolf Among Us is a game put out by Telltale Games last year, and as you can tell by the developer, you can kind of see what game this will be. It's a point-and-click adventure for the masters of choice and consequence. The Wolf Among Us is based on the award-winning and quite frankly brilliant comic book series called Fables, created by Bill Willingham. The background of the story is that you play as Bigby Wolf, the big bad wolf, the one famous for blowing down pigs' houses, and quite frankly trying to eat people in little red hoods. Bigby's job is to look after and protect the residents of Fabletown, a community of fables living in New York City. They are here after being forced out of their homelands by a dark and evil presence, and Bigby has to try and keep order amongst the two very distinct separate classes. The royal and rich who live in the high-rise apartments of the woodlands, and the poor and basically non-royalty such as trolls who are forced to scrounge around and doing the not most pleasant jobs. The only way fables can continue living in Fabletown is if they use a spell called Glamour to make themselves look human, so they're not seen or caught by the Mundies, i.e. the normal people like you and me. Obviously, this spell is going to be quite expensive, and so the poor struggle to pay for it. When you can't afford the glamour, they're taken away to a special work camp called the Farm, which basically no one really wants to go to. To be honest, I quite loved the concepts of the Wolf Among Us, with the fables living just in New York City. You can just, it's just hilarious in some cases. You see Beauty and the Beast having marital problems, and it just made me smile a little bit inside. However, the main character is Bigby, and Bigby is just an awesome character. He's there to kind of like, act as a sheriff, trying to stop them fighting each other, stop fables being discovered by humans, and just keep law and order. But obviously, because he's the big bad wolf in his past, most people are quite scared of him, and rightly so. Even though he can be a dickhead most of the time, Bigby's basically trying to show people, hey, I'm not the big bad wolf anymore. You can trust me, even though a lot of people don't, and frankly, I wouldn't really either after what he did back in the homelands. So that's kind of the backstory up to The Wolf Among Us. The actual game of The Wolf Among Us is a murder investigation, and I'll try not to give any spoilers away. A fable has been murdered in Fabletown, quite gruesomely decapitated, and her head left on the porch of the sheriff. Basically most of the game then on is trying to find out who the murderer was. You use your detective skills around certain areas. It's point and click, so you kind of understand the gameplay mechanics, quite similar to The Walking Dead in many ways. But that's just basically the general and very basic down-to-earth story. But what makes Telltale Games so good, and what made The Walking Dead so good, was the characters and the story. Along the way, you would meet other fables, such as Tweedledum, Tweedledee, the Woodsman, who you have quite a few encounters with and can be quite funny, seeing he's the one that chopped you in half. You also meet some bad fables that you call Bloody Mary and the Jersey Devil, who are two urban legends, but quite frankly were quite awesome bad guys. The second main character in this is probably Snow White. She basically is the secretary to the town mayor, i.e. Bigby's employer. She doesn't want to be in a desk job anymore, and she wants to basically go out with Bigby and try and help people and change things in Fabletown, which you quickly discover isn't as shiny and clean as it appears to be. Those people in the high positions actually do have a lot of corruption. And with Bigby and Snow White, there's a connection there. You can tell there's something there. Will they? Won't they? You can kind of tell by the way he's like, "Oh, I love your smell," and she's like, looking at him when he's like got his shirt off. You can kind of see there's a connection there, and a lot of fans of the game take it further if you want to find out. But I won't get into that. I'm just gonna say that there's good chemistry, there's good writing. The two characters go along together very well. I mean, they basically translated it over from Fables. They had a good connection, they had good chemistry, and they basically put that in the video game. And it's good to see how these two go along and basically develop as characters. It's a good story. And the gameplay is basically going around crime scenes and trying to find clues about who did it. But it's not just that kind of L.A. noir thing. Of course, this is a Telltale game. You're going to have choices. Some of the choices are quite difficult. Like, you're having a situation where you have two suspects for the murder, one's running that direction, one's running the other direction. Who do you try and stop and question? You can't get both of them. You're only one big bad wolf. You can't. They're going opposite directions. You can't split yourself in half and go that way and that way. You can only go for one, and that was quite a hard decision because you have to go, wait, let's rethink over this evidence, and then in this very short amount of time, and try and think who the most likely person is, or the person you think knows the most. You go after them and try and stop them. There's also instances where there'll be 2 or 3 crime scenes, and then there'll be like, what one do you want to go to first? And if you go to one first, how the second one you look after would be different. I.e., someone may have bit the dust. A bit of evidence may have gone missing, or even there's one choice where there's 3 crime scenes. You can only go to 2, and the other one you don't go to at all. You could miss a vital bit of information. It was quite a dynamic game. And it really made you think that, all the cards aren't really on the table. You really have to make hard decisions, try and do the right thing for the community, find out who this murderer is, who, throughout the game goes, becomes more violence, and more people start dropping dead. I'm not going to give anything away, but he is quite a gruesome mass murderer. You really want to stop this guy. So, basically, just in, like, the greatest Telltale games, like The Walking Dead, the 2 best aspects are basically the hard choices, and also the characters. But The Wolf Among Us is a lot darker, if you can imagine that, than The Walking Dead. It really is. You have slave labour and some really serious prostitution issues. I don't want to really spoil anything, but you really uncover these dark and terrible things, and it was kind of like, you're going a little darker Telltale than you did in The Walking Dead, and that's quite hard to believe in many ways. But the only real negative that this game has is that some of the choices, they just don't feel as emotionally, like, difficult as the ones in The Walking Dead. And I'm going to put giant spoilers on the screen now, because I have to give examples of this. Spoilers for The Walking Dead, not really The Wolf Among Us, 'cause that's what I'm reviewing. I mean, The Walking Dead, you had choices like, do you save Doug or Carly? And that was a really hard choice to put in the first episode of that game, Telltale. What are you doing? Or, like, do you smash Larry's head in, or do you not smash Larry's head in? And that would have giant ramifications for what would happen in the future between characters. And then you'd be sitting here thinking, oh my bummer, what do I do? And it really was a hard choice. I mean, The Wolf Among Us, there are choices that are hard, but to be honest, they're not as, like, they don't spend a lot. You don't have to spend as much time thinking or, like, regretting what you did in The Wolf Among Us. They're not as, like, emotionally whiplashing you as they did in the Walking Dead. Some of the time you're like, did I really need to have a choice there? Well, the choice was, do you want to be a dick, or do you want to be a normal person? I'd like to think that most people would like to be a normal person. You're a sheriff, you're trying to do the right thing. But maybe I'm wrong, and you could see that in, like, the end of the game, when there was some choices where it was like 98% of people did this, 85% of people did this. It wasn't as morally ambiguous and, difficult choice, because in The Walking Dead, literally every choice was like 50% of people did this, 40% of people did this. It was really, really tight, close calls. I mean, the last episode, there's this bit in Wolf Among Us, where Toad Jr. is like, would you give this gift to Snow White? And you're like, okay, 5-year-old, I'm gonna give it to her, because you won't go, fuck you. No, she'll hate it. And then, because that is just not a nice thing to do. So that's the only real downsides. There's a majority of the choices which are very good. The story is excellent. The characters are excellent. There's some of the choices you're like, is there really a choice here? I mean, it's either be a wanker or just be a nice guy. And to be honest, if you're a wanker and you're a sheriff and you're trying to prove to people that you're not Big Bad Wolf anymore, then why would you be a wanker? But apart from that, literally every aspect of The Wolf Among Us is just brilliant. I mean, the art design, I don't know, I just love the Telltale art design, and the whole darkness and the streets and the shadows and The Wolf Among Us was just really good. The music was excellent. At certain points it really did feel awesome. I mean, there are some really, really awesome bits in The Wolf Among Us. There are some truly epic bits when Bigby finally, like, transforms. End of episode 3 was like, oh my god. And then, end of episode 1, I'm pretty sure that every single person in the world that was playing it went, oh my god, oh my god. So yeah, there were some really awesome bits in this, and it really was a fantastic game, a great experience. So apart from those minority of choices that didn't feel like actual choices or actually difficult and like, well, that wasn't really a tough thing to do, The Wolf Among Us is a fantastic game. So what would I rate it? I'd rate it a 9 out of 10. I would say this is an excellent game. This and The Walking Dead Season 2, in my opinion, have been the best games of 2014 so far. Because, to be honest, it hasn't been a fantastic year for games so far. I mean, you had, like, disappointments, really. I'm not saying they're terrible games, but disappointments such as Watch Dogs and Destiny, and you were kind of like, you didn't really live up to what I thought you were going to deliver here. But those Telltale have had a fantastic year, and I'm hoping that Walking Dead Season 3 isn't going to be too long in the future, because I'm literally needing to know what happens at the next bit. They've hooked me on The Walking Dead, and I hope that they don't forget about The Wolf Among Us. It's a fantastic game, and I would say it is worth buying at full sale price on Steam. If you're in the UK like I am, it's only $18.99 for the entire thing. And to be honest, the games that came out this year, those two games, you're not going to find anything better. And people say, oh, they're not games, it's just walking simulator. And to that I say, fuck you. It's like comparing a fantastic art house film to something like Michael Bay. One just targets the testosterone dumb side of you. The other one has compelling story elements. And to be honest, if you're not looking for a game to have a fantastic story or anything, because everything really the story is the base of the structure. If you don't have that, then the rest of the game is not going to fit. This game is fantastic. I just wouldn't give it a 10 because of some of those choices where you're like, but it's a fantastic game, and I just say, buy it now. That wasn't enthusiastic. Buy it now. So yeah, thanks for watching this review. If you did, I love you. And then like it, and maybe subscribe to us, because, we gotta help each other out here. So, thank you, and goodbye.